My usual shtick in these videos is to talk about my Mu project. Today I'm inspired to try something a little different. Every once in a while, my Twitter feed shows something tantalizing but mysterious by Ivan Reese as he works on his project Hest. Recently, he started a podcast about Hest, and he's given himself a lot more space to talk about its goals and the mechanics. And listening to the episodes inspired me to take what I understood about Hest and to try to play with some of these ideas. And so here's my attempt at a Hest-like UI. It's trying to be an alternative to a debugger. And it does this by laying out the state machine in space rather than just as a list of textual variables with values. And there's also an explicit notion of time, and so we rely on animation and motion detection in our visual cortex to do a lot of heavy lifting in terms of transmitting insight to the viewer. You can see that there is a clock ticking on the top right. I can pause and resume. I can also restart time by starting at time 0. I can also start looping. And this is an interesting alternative to a step debugger where you're constantly stepping through explicitly. Here, if I miss something, I can just catch it on a rerun, which is quite the paradigm shift, at least for me. Let's just watch this animation for a while. I'm going to stop looping. There's a square cell boundary here. And there's information coming from these nodes outside the cell being transmitted into the cell along this red wire. It then gets processed into a number, travels out through the orange wires to these nodes within the cell. And so there's some mechanism by which information is being transmitted from outside and stored inside the cell. Let's zoom out. Now we can see 4 cells adjacent to each other, and we realize that what was outside the cell is really just inside another cell, and that information that's coming from outside the cell is really just coming from within another cell. So you can see it traveling across this wire. Let's watch. Traveling across this wire to the adjacent cell. And so we have a sort of mesh network here where each cell is connected to its nearest neighbors. If we zoom out one more step, we see that really what's happening in this program is the game of life. And that the mesh network here, these wires are really computing the number of light-colored cells neighboring each cell, which allows it to change its state. Thank you.